ethic laws and avoid any potential violations. I am asking you, Eric Ross, to address all the people that spoke to you at the various meetings and address the potential conflict of interest. And ask that you would request the ethics board for a conflict or tell them of what we're dealing with. Per the minutes, you have voted several times and a suggestion to Township Solicitor to send a letter to the Police Commission. Your votes were nay votes. There were many residents at the Township Supervisor Meeting addressing your possible conflict of interest with the LVBT, along with letters written by many residents. Today, you have ignored any response to us citizens regarding the possible conflict of interest. You really need to address that because we need to have trust and transparency. I asked you address the township residents with other questions. Have you requested advice or an advisory opinion from the Ethics Commission in regards to your potential conflict of interest before you took any official action such as voting? In regards to Gongware voting for himself and the supervisors filing a preliminary injunction to remove him, please explain how you again voted for yourself to do this, and the chair and the police commission. That's a hard one for me. Please provide a financial accounting for the cost of the preliminary injunction. And I gave Mr. Hudock what I wanted because we're the cash cow paying for this. So you're my attorney, basically. So I really want you to address all the questions I put in your packet. Your filing costs, your attorney fees, cost of the bond, and any other costs pertaining to the injunction, including the LVBD, or we're probably responsible for that too. You have voted yourself in over the police commission and voted Verna O, an excellent CPA. What are your qualifications in accounting to replace her? Managing resources responsibly, making decisions that prioritize the community's welfare, and ensuring transparency and accountability. In regards to your lawsuit against the LVBD, does the LVBD insurance cover your lawsuit? Or are we going to be paying it? 70% to the township, 30% to the borough. And you've also asked to have your attorney fees included. If we're paying that, gee, I would love to have somebody pay my lawsuit if I was doing that. You need to give us the information.
Unless you want to finish, yeah. Go ahead.
Can I finish? Can I finish? Sure. Okay. It's important. We elected you guys. We expect good service. It's like a nightmare. It's like having Biden and all of a sudden you can talk. That's just my opinion. So I want to know what's the actual dollar amount that you're suing for, because the box you checked, and I believe it's over $30,000 because that's the limit on your one thing. And if it's under, I might be wrong. You could correct me on that, but I don't know what you're suing for that we could possibly be liable and possibly give us. If we're paying it, you really need to give it to us, all the information, and then we're going to be responsible for the LVPD. This is if the insurance doesn't cover it. So you have to know if the insurance is going to cover this or we're going to pay it. I'm sure you're in the lawsuit. Ligonier residents, taxpayers may be, and I'm pretty sure about this, responsible for the preliminary injunction that was filed. There we go, 70% township, 30% borough, if I'm correct. The burden of the cost will be upon the residents. Mr. Hudock, provide the dollar amount for your attorney fees, the bond paid, the filing fees, and then the police aren't here. I guess they're going to have a fee too. I want to know if we're responsible for that. And provide documentation on the proposed. You used the old police thing that you attached to the docket, but yet you guys can't make up your mind on the charter amendment. It goes back and forth. So really, Does that renew, like January? Or how long do you have to do the amendment? That's what I want to know. Because the way I see it, I think it might be before then, but on the minutes, it goes back to like June of last year, back and forth. That's no way. I can't cope with this. Okay, and this is what happened on the 1/6 meeting for the minutes. An executive session began at 7:39 p.m. and ended at 7:57 to discuss personal matters and potential litigation. Well, why was that held in an executive meeting? I didn't know on January 7th that a 14-page preliminary the day after injunction was filed. I mean, that had to be, unless you're really good. It took me a week to write this stuff at least. The planetary date stamp is 1/7. So, and I have further questions in there for you on the preliminary. Was it prepared prior to the executive session? Why was the preliminary injunction discussed in an executive session? The taxpayers and residents will foot this bill again. Please review for any sunshine law violations. The preliminary injunction number 62 states PA public policy forbids an individual holding a public office from appointing himself to a public office absent express statutory authority for such an appointment. So you got the preliminary injunction, but I have a question. How can you vote and they can't? And you used it in the preliminary injunction. 63 says, here, no statutory authority existed to permit Mr. Gongower to vote in favor of his own appointment to the police commission, and such an appointment is invalid or void. The minutes also show that Eric Ross voted for himself for the chair over the police commission and requested you to pursue a filing on the preliminary injunction, and then voting for Gongower's replacement. It has to be fair on both sides. You got to stop this stupid fighting. We don't deserve it. You're spending our money. So you can explain all that to me. And this time I really expect some kind of response. You're elected officials, you get paid, and you're costing us a lot of money, the way I see it.
Yes, Mr. Sullenberg.
I'm actually not going to say much other than I'm here. If there are any questions on the theory of a new police station or anything else that I can help with, and if anyone wants my cell phone number, email, or anything else, I'd be happy to provide it. Thank you.
How's everyone who signed up?
Okay. Comments of the supervisors. Mr. Massey.
Mr. Stoltenberg, where's the police department going?
Where a $50,000 study suggested it would go, somewhere within about an 1/8 to a 1/4 mile of the intersection Route 30 and 711.
Question. Why they want the police department in the borough now? They had a police department in the borough, they didn't want it. Now we're gonna have to go back to the way it was.
So the borough doesn't have a police
about
department?
wasting money.
The borough doesn't have a police department anymore? Is that what you're telling
They
me?
did.
They don't now, though?
Not the building, they got rid of the building. Firemen have that?
You said a department, sir.
No, I said they had a police building in the borough, and then they got rid of it.
They had a building, yes. And they moved out here.
No, they had that in there just a couple years ago. You remember Mr. Skills? Did the firemen buy that in the borough?
Yeah, I thought the former chief had an office in the borough even after the rest of the department moved out here.
He had an office in town hall for a while, and then he got rid of that, yes. Move out here.
I'm just asking.
You're asking me if there's a police department in the borough, or there's a
They had
building?
one, they didn't want it.
So the borough doesn't want a police department?
Well, I don't know, they got rid of it.
I thought
The
that
firemen
they,
took it over. I'm just asking.
I thought that they consolidated, the township and the borough consolidated police departments. I didn't think the borough got rid of it.
They did, but I'm saying he's want another building in Ligonier.
Is it?
Another building in Ligonier.
Did I say it's going in the borough, sir?
I'm just asking where it's going.
And I told you, within an 1/8 or a 1/4 mile of the intersection around 30 and 711. I'm looking at 2 sites. I shared with Mr. Resnick and with Mr. Beaufort a few weeks ago. 2 of the sites are in the borough. and I could throw with my left hand a baseball and hit the township line, and one of the sites is in the township. So if you're thinking that I'm trying to get a building in the borough, you're sorely mistaken, sir.
No, I'm just asking where it's at. I don't care where you put it.
Okay.
I don't care. I'm just asking where it's at.
You don't care if you're asking where it's going.
I'm just saying, rough idea.
Within a
But
quarter.
people ask me, and I tell them I don't know.
Okay, well, as I said, I'd be willing to provide my cell phone number,
That's fine.
my email address, within an eighth to a quarter of a mile of the intersection of Route 30 and 711.
Enough. I'm good.
All right?
Mr. Resident?
None at this time.
Mrs. Verna?
Nothing at this time.
So address, yes, the state ethics board has been sent a letter from my lawyer, so we're waiting on that. We'll see.
I didn't hear you.
The state ethics board has been sent a letter from my lawyer and also from Officer Nepper.
Would you be willing to present this to the ethics board?
No, it's sent a letter.
Oh.
I will present this to my lawyer, yes. And to
What
ask,
day was that?
what's that?
What day did
I
was it after all the voting or
What's that?
the ethics, your attorney?
Yes, yes, it was after all the voting. And to address some of your other concerns, according to my lawyer, as stated in previous things, I just have to abstain from the suit that was filed, which I have.
Is he an ethics attorney?
I'm not.
I mean, when I read about
But
it.
anyhow, the suit that was filed and anything directly involved with the officers that were named in the suit. As for a financial thing, to be determined.
So we
that's
might
my
be
answer.
liable for your lawsuit? Is that what you're saying?
No, that's an insurance policy.
I
That's
thought
it
it
for,
encompassed civil. They don't normally, I mean, I
no,
get
no,
insurance for you.
that's the answer. That's the answer.
So
so-
you're saying we're not paying for it? You're positively certain the township will not pay for it?
I'm just telling you that it is insurance. That's fact. So, approval from the minutes from January 28th meeting. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Correspondence.
Number of items, Westmoreland County Association of Township Supervisors Convention is coming up on March 14th. I went last year, found it really useful. Plan to go again, which was great because we pay the membership. But if any other supervisors want to go, please let me know because they just want one RSVP from the township instead of everybody RSVPing on their own. So please let me know, say by the end of the week.
I'm sorry, what was the date?
March 14th, I believe from 8 a.m. to, yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot to print it out, but it is in your email when I sent the agenda, apologies. March 14th, I believe from 8 a.m. to 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. At Strategios, North mutual aid call volume. They sent the final year-end for December and also the January one. We had exactly 1,000 mutual aid calls in the township last year. Nice round number. And one of the last things that came in after the 24-hour posting of the agenda, received a letter from a country market vendor unhappy with the country market, asking us to intercede. I've worked with this, well, through Rossi's office because I reached out to them for help as well. So I've worked with this vendor previously and told them again through Rossi's office that as far as the township is concerned, we care about safety and traffic and zoning ordinances and number of vendors, but we don't really care who the vendors are. Maybe that's a mistake, but that's our current position. But that's the letter they sent. Unless there's any questions or follow-up or RSVPs for the convention. Managers report. Something I know everybody's paying attention to. The Ligonier Beach study is moving forward without a pool component. The pool feasibility study is complete, and the study committee, who's here in case I misspeak, voted to move forward with the rest of the study without a pool component. We don't have the first meeting scheduled, but we're working on it. Thanks, Janelle. And also, well, we have a new finance officer. Beverly Warfeld is here. finance officer and HR and grants and archivist and administrative assistant and all the other things you didn't know you were signing up for. So, and later on the agenda, probably assistant secretary and treasurer. That's all I have.
Thank you. Welcome. Solicitor's report, Mr. Hudak.
Been working on a couple code issues with Michael and Rick. That would be the Montague property. Michael and Rick met on site with the owner about a week ago. I don't know if I'm stealing anything that we're going to bring up, but I think they discussed the essentially derelict building that was bought in a tax sale and things that needed to be done to at least, it's a tear down basically, right? Is that?
Yes, even if he does something with that property, he needs to tear down what's there first, but all that's there is a basement, and the basement doesn't have a rear wall.
And I think Rick thought it was dangerous or something.
Yeah.
It could fall in the right of way, so. Second one is the beard complaint. I'm going to prepare some documentation that allows us to get on site to take some photographs of the current situation. The third thing is, I understand the police commission person was chosen tonight. That would seem to moot the underlying litigation, so I'll call Mr. Source tomorrow, and the hope would be that we can just put that to bed. That's all I have.
Clarifying question on the Montague, so what are we doing, what's the next step then?
We met them on site, and we gave them 30 days to come down to the township with a demo permit and or requesting a special exemption from the zoning hearing board. Just the way the lot is, if he's going to build anything, it's going to be in the front setbacks. So we gave him 30 days to come down here with some sort of application for something.
Can I add a little bit to that?
Yeah, because my concern is he could come and apply to build something else and then not take process on that.
Just to let you know that it's sort of related to that. We are tough. Michael, Rick, and I, we did file a private criminal complaint, which the DA had to approve, and they had troubles. It's owned by an LLC, so we also sued the two members individually because they're the ones, like corporate officers, who control the LLC. So it turned out that the district court, as they typically do, tried first with certified mail. That didn't work. So then they sent the constable, I believe, to try to serve these people. They couldn't. I believe the woman named and her husband were at court for a domestic or a divorce proceeding, I believe, and they ran a check and found an open warrant, and they almost took the lady off in handcuffs because of our complaint. So that all got straightened out, and now we've got compliance. We've gotten a call from a lawyer, so I'm hopeful. They do have a lawyer. I'm hopeful that it will get resolved. I guess your question is well, I should say there is a hearing scheduled for end of March. That's going to hold their feet to the fire to take care of things and get in compliance.
To ensure that it's not a safety.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I didn't like you show up with a permit to build something else, and I think those building permits can last years.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that would be a nice way to
Fair
just
question.
pause. Okay.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Okay, police report. Someone grab it from Mike.
He said he would come in as soon as he was
Okay,
able.
so we'll get back to
We'll
them.
come back to that.
Treasurer's report.
In your packet, you have our fund balances as of the end of January. Our general fund is $470,181. The general fund reserve is at $336,772. Liquid fuels tax fund is $216,171. The capital fund reserve is $44,447. Ligonier Beach Park Fund is $98,187. Developers Fund is a combined $60,498. The total fund balance at the end of January was $2,226,256. The sheet on the back is showing the expiration of our upcoming CDs. So Michael, it looks like you did that reinvestment.
Yes, yeah, obviously, this is the end of month for January, but we invested something in the beginning of February, so I want to include that.
And you
No
heard
reason
that
for
with
me not.
Pliget?
Yes.
That was that a shift from Janny to Pliget?
No, the January one is up in 2 days. You see on the bottom there, a little note to myself that I thought I'd share. Plan to invest in something that will come due in the middle of next year. I just got the rates from Liggett last week, so when I call Janie in 3 days, I'll get their rates.
Go with whatever the best offer.
Correct.
Also make sure you're looking at the fees and stuff that we're being charged.
Yeah, Jenny does not charge fees. They get their fee from their seller. Liggett did charge a small fee on this. It was less than $200.
Just to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing I would like to ask, kind of moving forward, so we know that we have a new finance officer. I would ideally like to see some type of our budgets and actuals trending by month. I know that we just budget for the year, and I know that that's what we are obligated to publish. It would be very helpful if, based on prior years, we sort of spread what that anticipated income is, so that as we move and we're comparing our performance month to month, we can see if we're on track or off track.
Okay.
Okay. Check. We just have the two tonight, Michael?
Correct.
Okay, to bill pay list tonight, I'd like to make a motion to approve the bill pay list from our general fund totaling $55,133.48. We also have a second bill pay list for liquid fuels totaling $53,905.88. Motion on the table to approve both bill due lists.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm sorry, who was the second?
Mr. Mattson.
All right, unfinished business.
The Robert Jakovich plan, this was before the board at the last meeting, but we asked to be held because we didn't have the owner's signatures yet. This was recommended for approval by the planning commission. It was reviewed by the sewage enforcement officer. It is not creating any nonconformities. It's down on Geezy Road, so the property owners previously purchased a little bit of land from their neighbor. They are now purchasing even more land from their neighbor. So it's a empty lot that they're purchasing, basically. And ready for your approval and signatures after the meeting.
Can I get a motion to approve the Robert J. Jakovich application? I'll make the motion. Scott made the motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
And second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Thank you, and yeah, don't forget to sign the plans after the meeting.
And then new business, emergency generator grant application.
Yes, so it's sort of been on our radar for a little bit to go look at a permanent generator. So the one that's here is graciously donated from the county, but they could take it back as it is theirs. So Mr. Buford, who, thank you for his work, found or has contacts at Scott Electric. Scott Electric Foundation does these sort of things. So we had people in from Scott Electric, I don't know, a month or two ago, providing estimates. The estimates are before you and part of the easiest grant application I've ever filled out, which is fantastic. Yeah, it's one page, and on that page is 2 lines. That's all I got for explaining the project. But of course, as any other grant application, it requires board approval.
You guys have a chance to read this over?
If not, the amount we're requesting is the cost of the propane generator. They did a quote for both propane and diesel. The consensus in the building seems to be that a propane generator would be better for us than a diesel generator.
Just a question, John's not here and was involved in this.
He recommended propane. Griff from the LTMA was the only one that recommended diesel. He's had diesel generators at all his
And what is
facilities.
the basis for that?
With a diesel engine, it's a diesel engine, so it requires service that a propane generator will not require. Takes diesel fuel, which is known to gel in the winter, and if we don't add the additives or forget to add the additives, it can separate, turn into water. At the ash pile, we had algae growing in it just because we didn't have the additives.
So you told me all the reasons not to get a diesel generator. What would be the reasons against getting a propane one? Pretend the situation, like what would be the argument the other way?
That was the last 2 winters, we have run out of propane twice. So there's a monitor on a propane tank that tells the people to come give us propane. The monitor broke. And then another time we got really low, so there was still propane, but it wasn't being sucked up through the propane tank.
What do we do now to avoid that?
I have an app on my phone that shows the percentage. So if I see in the middle of winter it's been 50% for a week, I know something's wrong with the monitor. For this emergency generator, I'd like to spring an extra $2,300 to get a separate propane tank dedicated just to this generator rather than the 2 giant tanks out there for the whole building.
And I looked, total projected cost is $70,100. The grant will be for $59,100.
Yes, so what we're requesting is just the generator and then their expertise plugging it in. The in-house labor of digging up the driveway, we have guys that know how to dig up roads and fix them. So I'm including that as the in kind.
You know how big the KW was on the generator?
40, I believe, but it's on one of these papers in front of you. Here's some misspeaking. 40 kW, 400 amp.
Okay. Guys have any more questions? And just so the public knows, we had a generator debacle this past winter, which basically cost the insurance PayPal money.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can avoid that. Plus, this being a evacuation facility, we must maintain power, heat, and so forth that, through all conditions. So this would add to that capability. Can I get a motion to go forward with this?
I'll make that motion.
Yeah, I made it. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Sign the grant. Assistant Secretary Treasurer, we had to hold this over from our organizational meeting due to the fact that we have lost Bethany.
Well, I was briefly the Assistant Secretary and Treasurer, but I'd rather not go back to the position.
And we have a new hire, Beverly Warfel. If everybody could welcome her. We look forward to her. You give a quick synopsis of where you're from and what you've done.
We moved here a year ago from the state of New York. I worked there from 2001 to 2022 as the various up to cruise